Joining us right now is former Texas Congressman and presidential candidate himself, Ron Paul. Sir, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Nice to be
We've been debating the rules all morning and every day, and, you know, the rules are 1237. What do you think? Would Donald Trump get it, even if it's falling short under that number?
Well, if that's his net total and he's short, no, I don't think he will, and I don't think he should. But, you know, they're dealing with these rules, but the rules are in politics are just made to be broken, just like the rules in government. Generally, I think the political system is sort of like the government. They're broken, they're arbitrary, and they favor one group over another. And, of course, I went through that 4 years ago about how at the last minute they can change the rules. So it's a messy business for sure. And I think that the people are starting to wake up, but I think it might be a little bit late to really restore sanity to this country economically and in other areas.
So walk us through what you did go through, because it's true. You actually faced very similar situation, and we're having this controversy about the delegates right now. Even if you get the popular vote, you're not getting the delegates.
Right, but we were well aware of the rules, and we actually thought rules were made to be followed, and the system had been made so that a competing candidate that might not have all the money and all the, you know, all the prestige would still have a chance. So they said, well, you know, if you get 5 states and you have plurality, you get to be recognized and give a speech, and something happens at the convention, it gives you a little bit of a chance. Yeah. And we had a little bit of a chance, nothing like what Trump has done, but we qualified to participate in the convention. But they got hysterical. You know, I think it was because we were dealing with issues and they didn't want to deal with that, and they didn't want to touch anything, so they panicked. They say, we can't have Ron Paul give a speech. Wow. We can't have him nominated. That'd be horrible. So they went and changed the rules, and of course the rules now are biting them because it's hurting them because they want to do the same thing. Yeah. So I think that is, the rules aren't necessarily bad. I think they were set up. The other thing that people don't understand is the way they're set up is some of these states, if they choose to make their election a straw vote, that's essentially what was going on. I know that's essentially what was on in Iowa, and we played it. Actually, we won Iowa. We had, you know, 80% of the delegates because we knew the system. Right. But they just changed the rules at the latest minute. But it was a straw vote, and a lot of these states do. There's nothing wrong with straw votes. Wow. And so I think Trump is off base when he says, you know, it's rigged. There's a lot of rigging going on, but I don't think he understands how the rigging works.
Congressman, we've got Frank Luntz with us this morning. Frank.
Congressman, it's a pleasure to see you. It's been a while. I got to ask you, who's the freedom candidate in this race? You were the freedom candidate 4 years ago. Who's that person this time?
Rand Paul, but you know what happened to him. So I guess I've been really pretty shocked because I've looked at the 20th century as the death of totalitarianism, fascism and communism, and how foolish socialism is and how foolish Keynesianism is. And I said, nobody's bragging about being a socialist. And people were coming around and saying, you know, I like libertarians. I'm libertarian on this. I'm a libertarian on this. So I'm rather shocked that this country, this to me describes how sick the country is and how panicked they are, where they can rally around and say, well, you know, it looks like we need socialism, but it reflects what's going on in our universities. I'm afraid that's the problem.
So make some news. Is it possible, would you consider voting for the Libertarian candidate if Donald Trump is the nominee?
Certainly.
There you go.
Why not? Why not? Why should I throw my vote away? I think people's votes should count. And people who say if they're progressive and they vote Green Party, oh, I wasted my vote. Not if you're disgusted. What if you have a Hillary? She's not a progressive. I mean, she's a neocon. She could run as a Republican. So why throw their vote away? Vote Green Party. Right. If you're a libertarian or a true constitutionalist, vote libertarian. Make your vote count. But just to vote for the lesser of evil, I just never bought into that.
Taken.
Do you, Congressman, do you think, though, we're talking about socialism, do you think that it's not just in name? Do you really fear that these policies will take root, or even regardless of who wins? come November?
Well, it is a tricky thing about defining socialism. Yeah, they're going to take root because they've already taken root. It's whether we're going to stop them, whether we're going to stop the expansion of government and the control of our markets and below, zero interest rates, all the nonsense going on. And the teaching over the last 70 years that deficits don't matter, spend more money, print more money. That's where the real problem is. Yeah, that's all going to continue. The names have changed because actually Sanders is not a pure socialist. He's an extreme interventionist Keynesian who wants to plan the economy and use his authority to redistribute wealth. That is socialistic, but they still deal with corporations.
Yeah, and he's not making any secret out of it. He's out and saying he's not making a secret out of it. Michael Block is here, Congressman.
Congressman, I see the GOP as being very anti-libertarian here, as you and Frank have already pointed out. I see this emphasis on anti-immigration, pro-life, and anti-gay gay rights, for example, as being very anti-libertarian. If the Republican Party de-emphasizes that, can they become more libertarian if they focus more on saying, hey, people should do what they want to do, smaller government in these respects?
Well, I mean, a lot of times they pay me an isolationist, which was absolutely false. It's the neoconservatives who are the isolationists. They put on sanctions, and they're the ones who are telling other people what to do. And I want free trade. I don't want managed trade. I don't want all this government managed trade like we have now, and Trump makes some points on this. But no, I think the libertarians, at least I had a modified version of it, because I think that an act of aggression is killing a live fetus. I think we have to deal with that. So there's a different position for libertarians. They don't mark lockstep. As a matter of fact, they're even the Libertarian Party. I'm a little bit annoyed because they're getting to be a little bit more warmongering than I like. I like non-intervention. I like minding our own business and bringing our troops home. And they're not there anymore. But that's certainly what our founders advised for. Stay out of entangling alliances.
Congressman, Frank Luntz just said we're going to a contested convention. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the odds are pretty good on that. I wouldn't bet against that because the Republicans have dug a big hole for themselves, because if they let Trump walk away with it on a first vote, that's they can't tolerate that. But of course, they're going to be in deep trouble if they prevent it and take it on and elect Cruz or nominate Cruz. So they're really in a box. And I just wished people would emphasize that a lot of people would like who are libertarian and conservative. Who cares about the Republican Party? This helped destroy the Republican Party. But what about the Democratic Party? Are they much better? And I don't even deal with that. I don't like to deal with the party thing. I want to deal with the principles of free markets, sound foreign policy, and protection of civil liberties.
Right.
And when that revolution comes, believe me, it will infiltrate all parties, because the revolution of 100 years ago changed everything about the monetary system and welfareism and war, and so it is in both parties. So really, if we're honest with ourselves, there is no difference between the two parties. And I know that's all we hear about is this argument between, but that is just all a charade.
Wow. Congressman, good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Ron Paul there. And